Hello, my darlings, and welcome to another episode of I Love GH. But right now, the only thing that I can give a follow up update on is Friday's episode, October 15th. And I was reading the Soap Hub recap. Sonny tells Carly that he chooses her. Does he really? Because how can you choose me if you haven't told me the whole truth? That's the problem I'm having with. You asked your questions to me and Jason. When are you going to tell us the truth about what your situation was? Or do we need to actually come up with the questions, those hard questions, to ask you ourselves to get you to say what you're not saying? Okay? Because the question comes to mind, why would you have to choose me? I'm your wife. Okay? So the recap reads for Friday features Sonny Corinthos and the Misses recommitting themselves to one another. Spencer Cassadine refusing to take the high road like many of his forebears, and Peter August being knocked down a peg or two. Not too many because I did see a little bit of today. It was preempted due to something very serious, but I will watch it this evening on Hulu in its entirety and probably give you a video for that. But let's go back to the recap that they have, the highlights for the show from Friday. So Sonny was still a little huffy over his wife and best friend coming this close to getting together again in the biblical sense. Luckily, Carly Corintha was able to calm him down with her insistence that he was the only man for her. Sonny returned the sentiment without confessing his having said those three words to Nina, thank you very much, and all was well. So is Carly going to have to find out the underhanded way, the truth about the relationship between Nina and Sonny without Sonny telling her, and her having to then step to her husband crazy, and then she's going to want revenge in a way you just ain't going to understand. Okay, her and Jason would be justified in them being pissed at Sonny because you lied to us. Not that you lied to us, but you lied by omission because you did not tell us about what your life was in Nixon Falls. Hasn't told anybody anything. Only tidbits that are coming out is what's been introduced by Phyllis. Okay? And the little vague jabs from Jax and Ava and even Maxie giving a little clue as to something was going on between Mike and Nina, but without telling the full truth. So all these people are walking around smiling up in Carly's face and not telling her the truth. And she's walking around feeling guilty for feeling the hatred that she does because she allowed herself to, and her and Jason allowed themselves to open their hearts to each other. They're the ones walking around feeling guilty about hurting Sonny when this mofo ain't did jack shit to prove himself since he been home but make demands. Really? Is that what we gonna do? We gonna skate over this? Or we just gonna find him in bed with Nina? And Carly's going to lose her bloody mind. And of course, then Carly becomes the bad guy, as you always do. When in actuality, she's not doing anything wrong. Her reactions are justified. Okay? So, I don't know. I do not know. That is some bullshit right then and there. Okay? Him in the kitchen talking about how it hurts him to think that his brother, his best friend, and his wife were about to do the deed, that they were married to each other, and you keep harping on that it's your best friend, your brother, and you're my wife, but you still haven't said those things that you need to say to your wife. Please forgive me because I allowed myself to become emotionally involved, had an emotional affair, a full-on affair. Okay, because he was ready to have sex with her. Jason and Carly were never really ready to have sex with each other because they were the ones that were honestly struggling with their emotions. Sonny was not struggling with his emotions because he, again, and I will keep saying it, he did not want to know who he was. He was happy in Nixon Falls being Mike. He had no intentions. If it wasn't for that fire, he had no intentions. No intentions of going back to Port Charles. Okay? Threw away his father's watch. He admitted that much, but you're not giving Carly the follow-up questions. You're not giving her the justification that she needs to make her feel secure about the decisions that she made with Jason while he was gone, as he was presumed dead. Because again, she and Jason are being made to feel guilty for doing what they needed to do to sustain the status quo. To sustain the status quo. I can't even talk. They did what they were supposed to be doing when somebody is dead. Okay? But once again, Sonny thinks that he is supposed to be the one, the end-all, be-all. It's all about him, and nobody else's feelings matter at this point because he feels he was the one that was the victim only. No, sir. No, sir. You were not a victim. You chose not to be a victim. You chose to not find out who you were in Nixon Falls. So you are not a victim of anything. And no one did anything to portray you. So for him to come back to Port Charles and now make Jason and Carly feel like they have portrayed him in some form is some bullshit. Let me just say. Serious BS. Alright? Then we got meanwhile, Pompous Spencer declared that he'd rather die, or at the very least spend quite a few years in prison, than give Ava Jerome Cassadine assurance that he wouldn't cause her or his father any more problems. Really? This is how you're going to write him? So, he's going to stay in jail for the night, okay? Kevin called out Esme. I loved it. So did Nicholas, loved it. But this little girl, she, again, does not know the people that she's trying to fuck over. She don't. Because she about to get into some stuff she ain't, I'm waiting for Ava to put her plan into action against Esme. Because the bottom line is they're going to have to separate Esme from Spencer. They're going to have to save Spencer from himself, which means saving him from Esme, because she's the problem. That is a psycho bitch. Okay? And like it says, no rescue for him. Spencer's going to have to deal with it. The visiting Kevin Collins was suitably impressed by the couple's decision, because Spencer has never been made to take accountability for his actions. They always brush it off as the Cassadine way. And he was, at the time, too little. They probably felt he was too small for him to really have any effect. But meanwhile, this is a kid who stole an election by stealing the ballot box for his grandmother. Stole an election. Yes, he did. Should have been in federal prison for that, but he was underage. So they covered that up. Now that he is of age, he thinks his harmless pranks, as he put it, really, were not that bad. Then your ass need to stay in jail. That's what you need to do. Okay? Much to Peter's shocks, or was it chagrin, Victor Cassadine didn't appreciate getting screwed over as much as Peter thought he would, so is off to the dungeon for Faison Spawn. Opposite this, Drew Kane and Liesl Albrecht put their heads together, added up 1 + 1, and came up with Drew still programmed. Yeah, we all knew that. Okay, now, I'm hoping what was preempted today was Liesl finding a way to deactivate the programming, because when the show did come back on for the last half an hour, you did see Drew escaping with Valentine and getting as so far as the bridge before all hell breaks loose. But I'm going to wait until I see the show in its entirety to speak on today's episode in full. All right. Back in Port Charles, Jason says he'd go ahead and help Britt. So of course he brings in Spinelli to see what they can find. They do find out that all the players that are in Crete right now in Greece and what's going on, just a little bit, trying to make a decision if they should get on a plane and go out there as well. I'm going to say no. Jason, stay home. Okay? You're involved as much as you need to be involved, but you need to stay home. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right? So we got a battle going on. Peter's chase is on. They're trying to get to him to kill him, but it looks like I said in the last half an hour of today's show, Monday the 18th, he's going to get the upper hand on two people, and I am not at all happy about that. Okay, and if at this point you bring us all through this for the good guys to lose people, I'm gonna be pissed. But that's the way these writers these days. They only looking out for the bad guys. They're not looking out for the good guys at all. Even our good mobsters are not even getting justification. Okay? And I'm not including Sonny in that one today because Sonny is acting like a little bitch. But there you go. All right. So there it is. Again, I'm not going to dip into the recap for today's actual episode. I'm going to wait until I watch the episode in its entirety, and then I will give you a recap on that because I think it's important because I did miss 2 weeks with you. So I'm going to thank you for taking the time to watch this short episode, the shortest I've done so far, of I Love GH, and I will see you later today. Bye.